Hey, welcome to Hearsays. I'm Paul,
And I'm Patrick.
and tonight we're talking about Easter eggs because it was Easter last weekend.
Yeah.
Because we're all about the seasons.
Oh, it's synergy, Paul. It's fourth dimension, fifth level marketing synergies. It's all about crossovers and universes.
So
Also, to be fair, we got a credit last week's episode. Our special guest, check out last week's episode with the great dungeon master Ben from Homebrew Quest, mentioned Easter eggs and how people call everything an Easter egg, and it struck a chord with both of us.
yeah, so we decided that we'd go on with the Easter egg type hunt for Easter, and kind of like go through what is an Easter egg, what is not an Easter egg, how can we just have fun with this kind of stuff, and you know, maybe annoy some people, maybe not annoy some people. I don't know. We'll
I
do
think
something.
hopefully annoy some people. The way I see it is the internet runs on negativity. We run on views. Come watch the show. Hate us if you like.
Yeah,
And if you do, don't forget to hit a like.
that is true. So, okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're going to like uh, generally kind of define an Easter egg kind of thing. Not this isn't. We're not gonna
Yeah.
get break out the dictionary and be just like, well, an Easter
No.
egg is because we're gonna just gonna get like a colorful boiled egg shell thing.
True. Well, Paul, can I be the first to ask you then? Because we haven't rehearsed this, which will become apparent to all of you. Um, Genuinely, when it comes to where Easter egg, the term Easter egg for movies came from, I always think it came from games.
Mhm.
Because that's where, when I was a kid, way back in the 80s, let's just say 80s, let's never mention the 70s. It was like, okay, Easter eggs in games. It was things that you had to be lucky enough to find, uh, things that were surprising, things that people would share around with each other, going, oh, if you go here and you double tap that, or you stand on the original one, stand on the gray pixel, you'll get a hidden message or a secret thing or an Easter egg. Um, that's the story I always believed. But I
Mhm.
did Google what was the first Easter egg in movies, and I got that it was the Rocky Horror Picture Show because the crew or the cast had been running around doing like an Easter egg hunt type thing, and production didn't go and find them all. So apparently, if you look closely, there are three or four Easter eggs still sitting on the set.
Yeah, like that's yeah. In games, there's a similar story about like the first Easter egg was like just it was just an empty room with an egg in it kind of thing. So like there's all these kind of like I guess hidden stories about which in itself is slightly Easter eggy as well kind of thing. So
Oh, that's it.
but yeah, no, I kind of for me an Easter egg in movies and TV or games is essentially a well hidden popular culture nod kind of thing that it's not a self reference to what's in the movie itself,
Mm.
but maybe something which is external. Um, being a maybe another movie within the series, like as in like not directly like a trilogy or anything like that, but another movie within the series kind of nod, or yeah, just another movie that maybe the actors or directors or someone who took part, kind of thing, or a popular culture reference. That's pretty much what I kind of see as an Easter egg, but it has to be kind of well hidden.
That's the thing. I'd go with that too. But if it's front and center and everybody sitting in a theater watching a movie with you can see this thing, and it's very, very prominent. It's not an Easter egg. It's just something they did for everybody to catch. But then there's things that, you'll watch something, you'll watch a movie and somebody go, oh, did you spot such and such? Or did you spot this thing on the wall or, hanging over the fireplace? And you're like, no, I didn't. That's when it feels Easter eggy for me. Some of those things end up just being in universe continuity, as in they just
Yeah.
end up being things that you're like, oh, it's nice that they thought to put that there. It doesn't make it an Easter egg because then absolutely everything that you don't notice in a frame would be an Easter egg. So it gets a bit stretched sometimes.
Yeah, your visuals are a bit choppy, but you're coming through with the audio fine.
Keep going. I'm gonna see if I can switch over to backup internet connection just in case.
No, so yeah, so I It's an Easter egg to me is not something that references something within the universe. So it's not world building elements. So one of the really good examples that we actually had, which is, we started off with prior to this, was the fact that like Lord Vader's helmet is in Episode 7, Force Awakens, with Kylo Ren. That's not an Easter egg. That's a world building item. You know, that's something that should be there. You know, it was salvaged. It was salvaged from the debris of like the Star or the Death Star, or when they cremated Vader. It's just a world building event.
Exactly. And Paul, there's a bunch of categories when it comes to all this, and my favorite pet peeve is when somebody calls a cameo an Easter egg, because a cameo is not an Easter egg; it's a cameo.
Yeah, I agree there.
Am
So
I am I coming through okay?
yeah, you're coming through fine. I'm
Okay.
actually just looking for our image of one Stan Lee, who has famously been in many cameos.
Stan is a great example, and while you're pulling up the image, Stanley has and apparently loved done cameos in lots and lots and lots of movies. It's not just the recent Marvel movies; it was previous Spider-Man stuff. He loves appearing. It's on record that he really enjoyed that. You know, people ask him what's one of the most favorite things from your entire career. Doing the cameos, he just loved it. Being on set and being the film star for a day. But he has lines. The guy speaks. He's on screen. Now, he could be an Easter egg if you find him in a film, Marvel film or not, where it's actually Stanley is on the third floor window, looking out, and there's no reference made to him, but you can really see that Stanley if you zoom in and look closely. Then you're like, oh, that's weird. And then you hear a story that Stanley was visiting set that day, and they're like, you know, it'd be great. Stand up over there in that window, Stan, and you're now just going to become an Easter egg. We'll see how many people spot you. Cameos, not Easter eggs, particularly Stanley and then directors who love making cameos in their own movies, Paul. You've got everything from M. Night Shyamalan, who is in absolutely everything he does,
Yeah,
to I think Hitchcock's a good example as well.
he's a really good one. More recently, like with M Night Shyamalan, there's also Peter Jackson, who's famous for being
Yeah, good point.
in all of his kind of movies. Just to name a few, which is Frighteners, pretty much all the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits, kind of ones. The one that I will say is like isn't an Easter egg. It's more just a funny story. Is Hot Fuzz. He's the Santa Claus who stabs Nicholas Angel
Right.
at the start. So that's like he's completely covered, no one knows. But that's the same limits of kind of cameo that like Daniel Craig is in Force Awakens, where he's one of the
Yeah.
stormtroopers. It's just like that's just a fun thing to know. It's not. I wouldn't call it an Easter egg. I'd call it like
No.
a cameo kind
And
of.
I would actually call that a cameo because he says something and uses his voice. If he'd just been a stormtrooper and not been given a line, and it was like, did you know that the third stormtrooper from the left was actually Daniel Craig because he wanted to be able to say he was in a Star Wars movie? Then I'm like, cute story. But what he did was a cameo because when that stormtrooper speaks, you're like, it's Daniel Craig. He's got a distinctive voice. You knew it was him.
He does, yeah. So like, yeah, there's those kind of little cameo kind of Easter eggs, or cameos more than Easter eggs kind of things.
Yeah, and Paul, can I just throw to the comments for a second? Because a lot of people are mentioning, and some people in jest and some people more seriously, if you don't have to do, some button bashing up, down, left, right in a DVD menu system to get the Easter egg, then it's not an Easter egg. You haven't had to do anything to get there and get it. You know, uh, Part of me wants to say, yeah, that's absolutely it. Because I don't really think there are any of the things that we can even bring up as examples of, well, this is close to it. None of them really are. Usually they're nods or references or homages to something else, or quite simply just something that's in continuity. Do you have, for everybody who hasn't seen it, this is for the SEO, there's a great new trailer for The Marvels, and that's getting lots of traction. But I saw, before we were doing this episode, I saw that the next day I saw, I think it was a thumbnail or an image at the top of an article that was like amazing Easter eggs in the Marvels trailer. And the image that Paul is showing, and I haven't highlighted the item on purpose, You can look at this all day long and go, where's the Easter egg? And a lot of people will see it and just go, well, that's not an Easter egg. In the bottom right hand corner, there's a little thing with a little green screen. That's the pager that he was paging Captain Marvel with at the end of Infinity War that she gave him in the Captain Marvel movie. It's quite literally on the desk of a character that we are well established that he carries this thing around with him. And everybody's like, oh, Easter egg. There it is in a film that bears the name of the character who gave it to him.
Yeah.
If I could say, I don't want to go full Chandler Bing on this, but could it be any more not an Easter egg?
Yeah. No, it's once again, it's just a reference to a universal building item. Like that's the thing is, like another example of I've actually got like the tiny zoomed in version of it on the screen there. There's also, which is another one which kind of annoys me, is the Spider-Man Homecoming, which I have highlighted, so it should make it a little bit easier. But so this is the classroom. This is the classroom that Peter Parker's in. Up on the wall is a line of portraits of famous scientists. If you look closely, that's Bruce Banner. That's Bruce, also known as the Hulk.
Would he be a Marvel character by any chance?
Yeah, like it's strange that he would be in a Marvel movie as a famous scientist up on a wall with other famous scientists. Like,
would he quite literally have met the title character of the movie you're talking about in the universe of movies? I think it's something like the cinematic universe of the Marvel or something like that. It's relatively obscure.
That those characters have never actually met. That's the interesting thing.
Have they never? Ever, not even in
they've met in Infinity. They may not.
No, they haven't. You're right.
They may not have actually met in Infinity War, but they were there in Infinity War together.
Point.
But no, it doesn't matter because it's a scientist who lives in the world, so
he's famous.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a weird one. That essentially this world building event or the world building of certain movies. Or certain universes is considered Easter eggs. It's like that's a nod or a reference to another character within the universe. Like that's not a. I'm not gonna say that's not a big huge thing where everyone's gonna be like, oh shock, Bruce Banner, a famous scientist, is on the wall, kind of thing. So
well, we don't have an image for it, but I'm gonna ask you this, and it doesn't take an image to visualize this. In the last Spider-Man film, Spider-Man Homecoming? No Way Far Home. From Home. No Way Home. Thank you. I got it the third time. Third attempt for three choices. Stan Lee's birthday is, there's a scene where Spider-Man is on top of a cab on top of a car, and the cab in the background has the cabbie license number on top. It's a 4-digit number, and it happens to be Stan Lee's birthday. That's nice. Is that an Easter egg, or is that just another nice thing in production? I see that as just another nice thing. It's like, Watchmen having 300 as part of a number on a door because Zack Snyder did the 300, or the stormtrooper called THX 1138 or whatever, because George Lucas's first film was THX blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's 3HX113. I think it's a cell block that Leia has been held in.
Yes.
So that's just a reference to old movie stuff that the directors have done. So,
and people find them like Easter eggs though. So does it count? Because I like them, but I would call them hat tips, or nice references or little homages. Or I would usually use the phrase hat tip, but I would never call that an Easter egg. But the fact that people are finding them or noticing them and then working out the connection, does that give people? Should we stop being so curmudgeonly here and give people the benefit of the doubt?
I would call those things Easter eggs. The ones with 300 as one of the I think it's one of the apartment door kind of things. Or I would say that certain ones of those are Easter eggs because you have to have a working knowledge of essentially the filmography of the director is doing it. So to myself, I would call that an Easter egg in the sense that it's something that it's not referencing essentially an in-universe item. It's not referencing a pop cultural kind of specific thing. It's more the fact that it's referencing another movie that the director has done. It's similar to what is this? What's the famous one? Should we go on to the ETs?
Oh, if you wouldn't mind, could you start with the image of ET's race showing up in the Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
Um, because that's an Easter egg for
Mhm.
me that you have to look close enough to see it. So, and unfortunately, there's a delay between us, but I'm assuming that image is up. So,
Yeah.
there's a huge scene in the Phantom Menace with all sorts of races and aliens from all over the galaxy. It's a galaxy far, far away, after all. There's lots of them. And if you look closely, ET's race is represented down there. There's a bunch of little ETs, which I'm assuming they have a better name on their home planet than calling themselves
Yeah.
extraterrestrial.
That would be fun.
Yeah, we're called the Franks. Could nobody just ask us? Yeah, we're Frank. We're all called Frank, and that's why we're the Franks. I love that, and I don't want to move on from it, Paul, to the one that I think relates to it directly without you having any say in this. But that is George Lucas and Steven Spielberg being friends.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice. But that friendship leads to another reference on the way back that I just think is a nice hat tip, where you don't have to look very closely, but you can see in E.T. there's a Yoda costume when everybody is out doing the Halloween costumes,
Yeah.
which again I'm assuming is what we're seeing on screen
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Okay. So that's one of those is an Easter egg. The other one is a hat tip. It's fairly easy to see where I draw the line here. If you have to look closely or put some effort into it or blink and you could miss it, then maybe I can qualify it as an Easter egg. If it just happens to be that people go, did you know that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg know each other? Look, Yoda's in E.T. I would just direct you to Raiders of the Lost Ark and go, yeah, I'm pretty sure they know each other. And you know, they all know each other. Yes.
Well, there's so many links. So we've had Star Wars with the ETs. We've then had the Yoda in ET, but then we have on screen also we have the bike scene from ET.
Yes.
Which also leads into Stranger Things bike scenes because that's a
exactly
slightly an homage kind of thing. So this is kind of a leading thing. But there's an image that I don't have, which also really annoys me. There's an image in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I do think you pointed out. There's in the hieroglyphs. Did you say about this?
There's an R2.
There's an R2 and a C3PO in where the Ark of the Covenant is kept. In the hieroglyphs on one of the pillars, you can see from a shot that they're there. And that once again, it's just an homage to the fact that, like, you know, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas are friends, kind of thing. It's just little references of enjoy. Like, I guess it's more enjoyment for them to see people kind of go, oh, look, you know.
Well, I personally like that one because I've watched Raiders of the Lost Ark conservatively. I've watched it at least 60 times in my lifetime. Like, I've watched it a lot, and I don't know if I've ever actually even noticed that. I've heard about it, but I've never gone back to actually look. And it's the same, like the Stranger Things while it's on screen. E.T. bike scene, very famous.
Mm-hmm.
It was so obvious that there was an homage to E.T. going on in the scene with the kids in Stranger Things on the bikes. So much so that when Eleven does her thing, instead of making the bikes fly, she makes a van fly. They play the, you know, part of the score, they play the theme to E.T.
Yeah.
It is not an Easter egg. And people go, oh, Easter egg. It's a lovely homage, a lovely reference, a lovely hat tip, a lovely nod, whichever phrase fits you best. And I love those things.
Mm.
I'm with our friend Ben from last week. It's kind of pissed me off that everybody's just calling everything an Easter egg.
Yeah, that's also what I wanted to talk about because give you time to also read some of the comments. The fact is, just to the audience, like, the issue is that everybody is using Easter egg as this only catch-all kind of phrase for essentially references or cameos or that kind of thing, whereas we've always like, as gamers and stuff like that, we've always grown up with kind of a specific level of what an Easter egg is. Now, it doesn't take away from the pop culture reference or anything like that. It's just stop using Easter egg as everything. Like, one of the painful ones that I think even like what is it that Ben actually brought up was the Ewok the Ewok one in Star
Oh
Wars.
yeah, Ewok drumming on stormtroopers' helmets.
Yeah,
Like,
like
oh look, stormtroopers' helmets. Yeah, there was a lot of stormtroopers and storm bikers and speeder bike people in the movie fighting with Ewoks. So this is literally just what would have been lying around.
yeah,
It, it, yeah,
yeah. It's a level at which they're using Easter eggs to kind of like catch all things, and also and then use it wrong, which is I think where one of this strings of it is just like if you're going to use Easter egg as a kind of hidden pop cultural or reference or cameo kind of thing, then use it as that. Don't use it as something that's like, oh, that the helmets are in the universe, they exist. That's not a thing,
yeah,
kind of thing. Use it as
exactly.
the hidden reference.
And you know what? As always, our wonderful viewers are dropping some great comments in here. Pop culture's covered a few. One of them made me, I almost laughed over you talking there. You know, points out that in Spider-Man, the principal plays the grandson of, you know, one of the Howling Commandos that was with Steve Rogers in the original Captain America,
Oh yeah.
played by the same actor. It's very cool, and there's a nice little picture behind him. Yes, caught that. And as he pointed out, that's a callback. You know, that's a nod. It's good. But then there's another one. Did you see the Spider-Man No Way Home Easter egg? The movie had 3 Spider-Mans. I love that. Yeah, that we're at that point where that's what people. I shouldn't get exercised. I shouldn't get excited or annoyed by these things, Paul. But when Ben brought it up, deep down inside me, I was like, yeah, I never cared about this till you said that. And I'm really pissed off that everybody keeps calling everything an Easter egg.
It just belittles like the kind of thing. So like pop culture also says we're going down the list, but pop culture because would the Lightning McQueen number be 95 in reference to the fact that Toy Story came out in 1995 be an Easter egg? No, once again that's a nod back. I guess that's probably on the verge kind of thing because there's like a another famous reference or nod to Pixar's films, which is on screen, which is A113. If anyone doesn't know what A113 is, but keeps seeing it throughout the Pixar's universe, it's referencing a room number that is the animation room in California's College of Animation. It's or the college where they pretty much all animators have learned which from California, which is animation. I thought that was really badly put together.
No, you told that well.
I got there.
I heard that. I was watching, it was like one of the documentaries after like 10 years. It was around 2005. It was one of those kind of 10 years after Toy Story documentaries about Pixar and digital animation. And somebody told that story. It was kind of cool. But again, these things are cool. Not Easter eggs, though, for me, because, and I don't get, like, if somebody calls something an Easter egg, I really don't, I genuinely don't care that much. I just really love some of the connections. And I'm really, and we're part of this, Paul. The temptation to go clickbait
Mm.
just to get views is always the temptation to stretch the English language or whatever language you're using to its limit. An Easter egg is just a great phrase. It's a real doing it on YouTube for getting views.
Yeah.
In fact, Lisa, I think you may have said that at some point in the past or on Twitter or something.
Yeah,
I don't know who I'm crediting that with, but
yeah.
it's in my mind, and I agree with whoever said that.
Yeah, it was Lisa on our poll. We put a poll going, is it overused or is it not?
Yeah,
And
it's another one of the clickbait diseases.
yeah, Lisa commented the fact that they hated that it's when it's on clickbaity things, and I had to be just like, well, I guess we should change our video name. Kind of thing. So,
yeah, in this case, quite literally, it is our topic, though. So
yeah, just on Lisa's comment there, it's the film equivalent of Treebeard being based on C.S. Lewis. That's reference to Star Wars, Spielberg and George Lucas referencing each other's movies and stuff within their things. Yeah, it is. It is the equivalent of essentially writers, which is sort of novelist, putting in character or putting in authors as characters and stuff in within their movie or within their book, kind of thing. So,
I love it. Is it for anybody old enough to remember both Battlestar Galactica and the A Team? In the opening credits of the A Team for one of the seasons, for actually a few of the seasons, um, Dirk Benedict, the guy that played Face from the A Team, was also in. He was Starbuck. He was the original Starbuck in the original Battlestar Galactica. But there was a sequence where a Cylon walks past him in like a Hollywood, thing, and he just makes this kind of, uh, so it was referencing his own TV career. Is that an Easter egg? No, it's just a really nice nod to, hey, that's a character I played somewhere else, and there's somebody from the thing that I played somewhere else. We'll all get a little tickle out of it. I know it tickled me. It really tickled me when I was a kid. Not an Easter egg though.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's the thing. So, pop culture just on this also said the Mementos DVD had an Easter egg where the movie played in chronological order, but you had to find it. Yeah, like that's more of an Easter egg because it's more kind of like it's a hidden fact, kind of thing. I have a question for you. So, I'm gonna put
Please.
this up on screen so everybody can see, and the audiences will be able to see a little bit faster. Um, but Catwoman. Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman in Tim Burton's Batman's Return. The eyeglasses on her while she is in, I think it's in the office of Christopher Walken's character. There's a shadow of a mask placed on her face, and this is known as one of the most obscure Easter eggs. Would you count it as an Easter egg? Or would you just be like, that's just foreshadowing?
I
Like it's a,
think I class it as if that was as intentional as it looks, that's just really good work. Like that's golf clap for everybody involved in the production, including the director. I don't know what I class it as. It's like the Departed. By the way, I'm about to spoil the Departed ish. Be careful. I'm not going to give it all away. But apparently, everybody who dies in The Departed, if you look closely, at some point in a scene before they were on screen with an X, be it
yeah,
a literal X or X being made by something. And I'm not going to say the one character, but a notable character who lives. It's very notable that they never appeared on screen with an X, and that's lovely. I like that. Very good. Well done. Is it an Easter egg? I don't know.
yeah, like yeah, it's a very good, point. It's a very nice.
So So, what do you think of the Michelle Pfeiffer though? Answer your own question there. Do you think
I think it's
that's
foreshadowing. I think
yeah
an obscure foreshadowing reference rather than an Easter egg, kind of thing. There's
yeah
another one within the Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix that when he looks into the mirror taking his makeup off from when he was doing like the I think not the TV show or anything like that, but it's like in the middle of the film. There's a slight image of Batman in the mirror because it's very dark and it has two kind of things. I would once again that's either that's a reference or possibly foreshadowing depending on how they were planning to move forward with the movie. That
it's just attention to detail with some great story. It's like how many times are people going to go, oh, you look at this, that's the carpet from The Shining, or that's the pattern from the carpet in The Shining
yeah
on the bottom of a skateboard or in the floor of another thing. It's like, no, it's just good referential filmmaking where we can, you can add layers of depth to your story by things like Michelle Pfeiffer's glasses or the Batman and the Joker, or you can reference other people's work to just bring it all together. Like we're all one big happy film loving family and universe. Some people get a kick out of it and it won't affect anybody else. Which, by the way, Paul, we've got to go to ads in 4 or 5 minutes. So if you don't mind, could we pull up? I think I labeled it Goonies, possibly.
yes
Um, this is one of my favorites because I didn't, and again, hands up, I did not clock this. But when I was told about it afterwards, I absolutely had to go and see it. So the image that's most likely up on screen, and that's actually come up for me now, is you can see character from Jurassic Park. Absolutely, there is no doubt in my mind this is intentional. Goes through the Goonies wardrobe, let's say. So starts off like Chunk and then gets the mouth, and it's just great. if you're going to show a character and go, okay, well, we're doing some costuming here. If you can make that link work, and Steven Spielberg could make that link work while simultaneously making Schindler's List and Jurassic Park, like he had a hell of a year that year to be able to work things like this in. I love it. Did not catch it at all. But when somebody pointed it out, I'm like, I got to go back and watch for this. This is great. Oh, yeah, I love this because I love the Goonies. I love Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Easter egg? I no, I don't think so. Hat tip? Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, once again, it's a reference. It's you know, I think it's like if we were to like, I guess to stroke, like most of these elements are just references or callbacks or foreshadowing. I do think that Easter egg has become essentially a bucket phrase for a lot of these. And the problem is that, like, I think my biggest problem is that when you see some of those lists, like, some of them are going to be like just things that just annoy me because it's just like, that's not an Easter egg. It's not a callback. It's not a reference. It's not a foreshadowing. It's nothing. It's literally just something in the universe that you're just pointing at. It's like you could just be like, yeah, the guy has a telephone. That's an Easter egg, and it's just like, what? So what? You know.
And look, there's one very famous channel that does this, and I'm not having a pop at them at all. Screen Crush. I want to say this very, very clearly. Love your stuff, not having a pop at you because it always says Easter eggs, references, cameos, and other things that you might have noticed. And it completely is like, whatever you want to call it, but we're showing you cool stuff. Or we're pointing out these references or links or hat tips, nods, foreshadowing, whatever it might be.
Things you
and I love it. Exactly. Stuff you might have missed with, you know, a bit better of an SEO term and a cute little log. So we're not here to endorse other channels, but I'd say check out Ryan Airy and Screen Crush. You'll find good use of the term Easter egg quite often.
A lot of use of it. Yeah, so what's just I think we'll run to the break now just to kind of freshen up, if that's all right.
Yes, let's all take a bathroom break and we'll see you in about less than a minute.
Yeah, 30 seconds. So we'll be right back.
See you soon. Hi, I'm a regular person, just like you. I don't have dead, lifeless eyes or anything. If you're like me, you're frustrated with the trash that keeps getting served up to you by the internet. Well, do I have good news for you? I've found Hear Us Out. These two handsome, intelligent, and not at all egotistical folk talk about everything to do with the world of entertainment, covering everything from how movies are made to what TV shows you really shouldn't miss out on. I know, a service like this must cost an awful lot of money. Well, have no fear. It's all available for free on YouTube, with an extensive back catalogue and new episodes every Thursday. To take advantage of this, all you have to do is go to their channel and hit the big red subscribe button. Insider tip, hit the little bell to get notified of any new bonus content. Add some colour to your life. I know I could use it. Hear Us Out. 3D talk in a 2D world.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for watching that. It's an ad for us, so thanks for watching.
Oh, it was one of ours, so that's why it was a bit longer. Sorry, our ads are longer than the ads we make for anyone else. Selfish much? Damn right. Like, subscribe, share. Don't watch anybody but us, especially not like, you know, It Takes Two or Homebrew Quest or Pop Culture, anything. No, none of them at all. Damn it, I've mentioned them again.
You just mentioned so many channels.
I know.
So yeah, so one of the other references that I have, which is a little bit like it once again it falls into the kind of list of references, is in Ready Player One, done by Spielberg. There is the Iron Giant. Yeah, the sad, yes, because that is a massive pop culture reference. Sorry, pop culture, for using your name in vain.
Yeah, true, actually.
There's a huge, big pop culture reference. It's like, and the entire movie is essentially just a reference, like, back. Now, this is the thing that annoys me. It has Easter eggs in the film, but they're specifically story related rather than actual Easter eggs. But in the book, those were actually Easter eggs, because like they were actual things that happened within a game. Each one
Mm.
of them was mostly just what happened in a game kind of thing. So like I will say that at least they had some elements of Easter eggs within the Ready Player One universe, mostly the book. Um, but like like culture references were like always throughout that movie.
Yeah. And just because you can probably tell from my face and from what Paul was saying, the book is wonderful. The film disappointed. But yeah, it is. It's pop culture a thon from
Uh,
DeLoreans to God knows what else. Like there's a couple of frames in that where I feel like people are like, you know what else we could put in that we don't have to pay a license for, or Steven said we could use it.
yeah,
They're just shoving stuff in, which the book had reasons for everything it showed or described, I should say.
yeah, agreed there. I'm actually looking for a reference, but yeah, no, it's more of kind of referencing kind of thing. I also do like that we're actually on the Spielberg kind of train because there is another one which is Back to the Future.
Is this by any chance? Well, what would people consider an Easter egg? Because is it anything to do with the cameo? The fact that like Billy Zane is there?
Yep.
Is it anything to do with just the fact that because he's changed something in the past, you see it? Oh, it's the Twin Pines, isn't it?
Yep. Yep.
The Lone Pine. Yeah.
People are just like, yeah, Twin Pines to Lone Pine Mall. Like people are just like, that's an
No,
Easter egg, and it's
that's
just like,
just good storytelling.
yeah, that's just good reference. All the things that you mentioned there, which is the cameo from which is uh your man who's in, he's the other band
Billy
member.
Zane.
Yeah, they're in the other band that plays at the start of the thing, isn't it?
Oh no, that no. Billy Zane was one of Biff's
Oh,
hoodlums or henchmen.
yeah. There is
But
some.
was it? Yeah, who was in the other band? Oh
There was
gosh, I
a.
can't remember
Is it
that.
Sting? It was
Can
Sting.
somebody in the comments remind us? Because we know, in the minute you say it, you go, yeah, that's it. Also, Back to the Future 3, Flea, for the bass player
Yeah.
from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Again, that was an acting role that the man got paid for.
Mm.
It was more than a substantial cameo. So it's not an Easter egg to go, oh my God, did you see Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers speaking and having a drag race with Marty McFly? Yeah, I noticed it. It was kind of integral to the whole story. So yeah,
Yeah,
not an
he
Easter.
was a full on character. It was just because it was just someone that we know from a different media that we're just
Yeah.
like, that's a, you know. But yeah, so yeah, do people consider Lone Pine, like Twin Pines Mall to Lone Pines Mall, an Easter egg? And that's something that
Wow.
I don't understand really, because like, did you guys, like, in the chat, did you guys consider Twin Pines Mall and Lone Pines Mall essentially an Easter egg? Did you notice it? I'm hoping this isn't blowing your minds, and this is the first time you've realized that they changed that. Because right at the start of the movie, Marty runs over a pine. He runs over. There's two pines when he's escaping from the barn, and he runs over one of them.
And the farmer that he crashes into was crazy into growing trees. Like they wove it all into the story. Everything is woven in nicely.
So
Yeah, I can't believe. Yeah, I guess some people would call that an Easter egg. I just call it good filmmaking. And it can't be called foreshadowing because it's reverse shadowing. So it's before shadowing. It's shadowing what's already happened. Um, yeah, like there's stuff that the car nerd in me wants to go. Well, sometimes there's a bit of an Easter egg where you can see a production issue where like Arnold Schwarzenegger flips over Porsche 911 in Commando, and the whole side of it gets damaged, but then he flips it back down on its side and it's perfect. It's like, no, not an Easter egg. That's a continuity error. That has its own term altogether. It was a mistake because they shot out of sequence, and that's how that works.
yeah. Like, yeah. There's another one that I want to talk about, which I do think is more of an Easter eggy kind of thing, which is in Doctor Strange, when he looks at his watch. That's set at the 2nd of February, and I think it's also the yeah, it's the 2nd of February, which is it? Anyway, it's the exact day of Groundhog Day.
Ah,
It's
Okay, and he does the Dormammu loop.
yeah, which is a little bit of so.
It's very nice. I didn't know that one. That's very nice.
I thought I'd try to get you. I tried to get one of these in that you might not have known. So,
That's that's very sweet. I like that. Again, falls under the category of great filmmaking for me. It's like attention to detail. I love it.
yeah, so it's set. So yeah, when he looks at his watch, it's supposed to be the same date as Groundhog Day with Bill Murray set at. So it's just an interesting one, yeah. And then at the end of the movie, he does that whole time loop thing. So yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah,
It's
spoiler
perfect.
warning. Strange groundhogs Dormammu. Um, there's a great three-letter sentence, or if anybody needs a password for one of your logins, just strange groundhog Dormammu. That should get you through.
That would be a confusing one. And then I have another one, which I'm also
Ooh,
hoping will get
hit
you.
me, hit me.
So, um, the credits of The Greatest Showman. Okay.
Okay.
In the top hand corner, there is a symbol, which you can now see probably on screen.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just having a look.
And if you know, like, Hugh Jackman is The Greatest Showman, and Hugh Jackman is also Wolverine. So in the top corner
I can
symbol,
see it now.
yeah, it's a reference
The
to the fact
arms.
that he's Wolverine.
Very nice.
Yeah, I thought that would be a little bit of a nice
Very
one.
nice. Did I happen to send you a Predator image by any chance?
Yes, you did.
If you wouldn't mind showing Danny Glover's masterpiece. Absolutely the best film Danny Glover has ever made. No way do I mean that. I have no problem with Predator 2, but Danny Glover has made many, many better movies because he has a stronger career than people realize. He's a great actor.
Yeah, it's up on screen now.
Cool. Well, Alien versus Predator hadn't happened, but in a Predator movie, there is a board of skulls. And okay, we've never technically seen an alien skull. Technically, in any of the Alien movies, we haven't seen what one of them would look like pared back completely. But there's a fairly heavy reference in the center of the screen. One of those skulls has a nice big elongated head, like an alien.
Yeah.
So technically, that's foreshadowing for a series of movies that would come out like 15 years later or 12 years later or whatever it is. But no, it was just, again, it was a nice bit of production design to go, we're going to have a load of different alien skulls. And someone said, well, are we going to have legal trouble if we use actual like alien from Aliens and Sigourney Weaver and all that? And I think it's nice because everybody sees it and goes, oh, nice. Is it an Easter egg, Paul?
I see. This is the thing is, I would reference it more as this one's a difficult one that I think because this is more of a callback to a comic book series. Like, because
Gotcha.
Alien and Predator have met in comic book form prior to the movies.
Gotcha.
So
Wasn't aware.
Yeah, so like I think this is more the fact is that it's just because it seemed like the Predator movies were separate to the Alien movies that they were just like a fun little comic book kind of reference or something for like that. I wouldn't. That'll be closest I could tell to one of the Easter eggs as well because you have to have prior knowledge of essentially the comic books.
But, and I guess that makes it an Easter egg. Although it works on because I didn't know that, so this is a learning episode for me. I guess that strengthens its case as an Easter egg, but it worked just the same as a reference before I knew that.
No, definitely. It was also something that you can get excited for as a Predator / Alien fan. You just like, oh wait, I know that skull or that shape of skull, kind of thing. So.
And one Paul, if you wouldn't mind, on the same topic, if you could throw up the Batman v Superman I Am Legend.
Oh yes.
Because that's one that again had to be told to me. I watched I Am Legend. I watched Will Smith and a very adorable dog. It's it's a billboard. It's a billboard with a Batman symbol and a Superman symbol on top of it. Years later, like a number of years later, the Batman v Superman film happened. But here's the thing. What was explained to me and what made this cool is like, oh yeah, do you know that's in there because, the guy working on this was actually in the early throes of writing a script for Batman v Superman. So that's kind of cool. Going all the way to having, production designed a billboard for a film that may or may not have come out eventually. And when it did come out, I don't believe it was written by the same guy. So kind of cool.
It,
Easter egg in hindsight.
yeah, it's a nice reference. It's a lovely
Hmm.
reference to the writer who helped kind of screenplay I Am Legend, and also then did the first draft of
Yeah.
like that's a real nice. It's a real nice because it works in both levels. It works in the sense that the reason that it's up there in the movie is because it's set in the future where Batman and Superman is coming out, but the other level is the fact is that the writer, was taking part in writing the screenplay. That's a nice little kind of double kind of reference or Easter eggy thing. I would
That's
say
the
that's
story I
close.
was told. So yeah, and this is the fun thing about all these references. At the end of the day, it's when somebody else can tell you about something, or you can tell somebody about something that they haven't heard. Like some of the ones you've hit me with, I do get a little kick out of it. Be it an Easter egg, or a cameo that I didn't spot, or a reference that passed me by, or something that needs an awful lot of explanation. Going, did you know that that number relates to this, which was also there, which was also here, and it means a lot to these three people? You're like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're nice little pieces that there's like there's plenty in like the D&D movie which we did the video last week and this came out of um where they had little nods for specific so they had a Critical Role reference which is Freshly Cut Grass, which is a character in Critical Role, and that Simon's character does. There's little nods to other D&D elements and stuff like that, but they're all nods and references and
Yeah,
stuff. But it's nice to see them in there because when you're, I guess, in the know, it's a nice little kind of like, oh, that's really cool kind of thing. And then you annoyingly also then move to the one side of your partner and just be like, well, that references, you
yeah.
know,
You should really some. You know what? We should go and see a car movie together, just a really bad one, and I'll sit there giving you not just continuity errors, but technical specification errors. Going, well, you see, look at that. That's a 6 speed, and that car never came as a 6 speed, so that's obviously a prop. Oh.
let's let's try go to Fast X together.
Yeah, you can
But
hold me in the seat, I guess, because I'm sure the temptation after the last one, the temptation to get up and leave will be quite high.
I
Anyway,
know. Um,
any more?
I have one more, but it's actually an audio one, which is the famous. I'm hoping this comes through. Wilhelm scream. The Wilhelm scream is famous because like I guess it would be the closest. It's not a close Easter egg. The reason that I've included it is because it's always in a movie that's specifically done by a certain company for the sound. I can't remember the name of the company, but you can look it up. It's quite obvious. But anytime they do the sound or music for a movie, they always put in the Wilhelm scream. And the fun thing about this scream is more the fact is when you learn that movie's going to be. See, I turned this into more of a game. That when I find
Right.
out that movie has this company doing the sounds, that I'm just like, where's the Wilhelm scream
Where
going
is
to
it?
be?
Yeah.
And then when it comes up, I'm just like, there it is, great. And then I move on with my life. But
It would have been so much fun if they'd done The Artist. You remember that silent movie that only had music, and have you sitting in the cinema going, "There's a post-credit scream." There's a what? No, I'm telling you, there's going to be a post-credit scream.
they have to do it. They have to
They
do
have
it,
to do
like
it.
kind of thing. Yeah, just and they would just hide it in the music. It's somewhere in the music. One note would just be the Wilhelm scream done in a certain way that you wouldn't recognize it. That would be an Easter egg.
Well, Paul, is it time to set a challenge to our diehard fans
I think so.
before we leave? Because what I would love to do is say, if you were to try and put "Hear Us Out" in something as if you're gonna put us, the channel, or one of us, or something that refers to us, into a movie as an Easter egg, what movie would it be, and what would it be? Because at this stage, we're open for a lot of kicking. Like there's a real mean way to go with this, folks. Try and be charitable.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Also, comment down below any which is like non Easter eggs that you're also really ticks you off as well. That would also be a
Yeah.
fun one. But
Favorite reference, favorite hat tip, and favorite cameo. Just get it all in there, because for people who started off very negatively sounding about all this, Paul, I think you can kind of tell that we like clever filmmaking, nice attention to detail, and nods, hat tips, foreshadowing, references, etc.
We do indeed. We are film lovers, so it kind of comes with the territory, doesn't it?
That's true. Yeah, I guess so.
So, we could thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Don't forget that our library of shows span quite a long time. So go check them out. Share us out as well. Thank you for watching. I've been Paul.
I've been Patrick.
And we've been Hear Us Out. Catch you
And what you didn't notice in the background, the entire never mind.
Yeah, guess what? Name some of the things. What's this? What's that reference to? There you go.
Oh my god. Oh, there's a good one, because I'm gonna have to watch this back and work that out. All right.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.